Shit, shit and more shit. Gillett and Hicks are full of shit. Gillett and Hicks are full of shit. Gillett and Hicks are full of shit. They're full of shit, shit and more shit.
It's 7 years since what was then New England Sports Ventures took over at Liverpool FC, took charge of Liverpool FC. And people say that we don't talk about them enough on the Anfield Wrap. We do. We've done loads of podcasts. I wrote something at length, which was about 5,000 words on it. You can find that on the site. We talk about them all the time. We talk about what we think of them, what they could do, what they haven't done, what we think's good, what we think's bad. But because it's been 7 years and because people still say we won't talk about them, we thought it'd be a good thing to get people's views on what they think of what is now known as Fenway Sports Group.
Well, to be honest with you, I'd rate them as a C over their time at Liverpool. In as much as they've done good things, but I was hoping that they would do better.
I think everyone on the internet certainly seems to have a sort of extreme opinion on them, in that they either think that they saved Liverpool Football Club and should be given a kind of a free pass to do whatever they like with it because they're these kind of moral custodians that came in and fixed everything, or they absolutely hate them and they moan about them not spending enough money and just generally hate them and want them gone, and I'm definitely somewhere in the middle between that.
I think that we are 7 years into their tenure, and you can look back as far away as 5 years ago and a lot of the same questions were being asked. For me, it comes down to ambition and whether they have the same ambition in the footballing side of things as they do in the commercial side of things.
I think it's really difficult to try and come to a proper conclusion with them. I think it's 7 years since they've taken over, and I think most people are still in different camps about it.
I think if you're going to try and measure the success of an ownership of a football club, there are various ways you can do it. There are various things you can look at. But the most important one for Liverpool, for me as a Liverpool fan, is how many trophies are being won by Liverpool during that time. And the answer is one.
I don't quite know what the answer is, in that it isn't as though there's fantastic other ownership options out there or anything like that on the one hand, and on the other hand, they could well improve and find a journey through to being the type of owners that we want.
Well, they're owners, that's it basically. They're better than some, they're worse than others. They've made some mistakes and they've done some good stuff. I know there's a lot of complaints about the fact they're not willing to spend, and stats came out this morning that they're basically spending 24 million net each year. But there's also a good stat that came out this morning. The Spurs have made 20 million profits in the last 5 years. So are Spurs worse than us, sitting a second in the league last season?
Our football club has been born, or not born, but has grown into a fashion of winning and succeeding and competing at the very, very top of the football pyramid for silverware. And under their stewardship, silver shiny things have been in short supply.
On the face of it, Liverpool have improved under their ownership. I suppose what's testament to them is the new stand, which gives Anfield a completely different complexion.
Have we been where we really want to be under this ownership? I would say no. Is that all their fault? I'd probably also say no.
Everyone thought that they would be better. It's true that they could have been worse. It's very true that they could have been worse. But the problem I have at the moment is that a lot of the things that are going wrong are things that we were hoping would have been fixed by now.
I think the first word I'd use to describe them is absence. They've not really been much in the country. They've not been to many games of football. You haven't really seen them around. If you compare that to other owners of top clubs like Abramovich, who's there at every game, like the guys who've got Man City, who are very present and there. For FSG, they've not really been around, and that worries me. It makes me feel like they don't really care. It makes me feel like it's not a massive priority for them.
The spending's not the problem. It's who you spend it on. It's how you do it. And it looks to me like they've got it right. They've gone out and they've got the right manager. They're making good signings. God knows, the sense that they had to go out and sign Naby Keita for next season, that's good business in my opinion. The fact that they've gone out and they've tried to get everybody the manager wants, it's not their fault Virgil van Dijk can't sign.
My position is I think we're in much better shape, obviously, than when they arrived. Yes, there's things I wish they'd have done much better, but they could have also been a lot worse. I think we're in a more positive state with them in terms of their own sport and ambition now than we have been. I think the big statement of ambition was going out and aggressively getting their number one choice manager, and I think a manager at that level has been something that they've wanted all along.
I've got genuine gripes with them, but they're not kind of football or on pitch related things. I'm not bothered about how much they're spending in transfer windows so much as I am bothered about them not doing the Annie Road up, or bothered about them not getting enough young people in the ground, which I think have been issues with Liverpool Football Club for years and years. And the things that they've tried to get better at, they've done young adult price tickets, they've done the redevelopment of the main stand, but they've kind of not gone far enough to completely satisfy me. So I'm okay with them, but I certainly wouldn't say that like I'm a big fan, and I think they've done everything possible in their power.
People forget that 2 seasons ago, United fans were splintering off and forming Newton Heath wearing gold and green scarves because they hated the owners that much. Put their hands in their pockets a couple of times, put some players into the club, and suddenly everybody loves them. It'll be the same with us in 2 years. If we go out in January and we get Van Dijk, and if we bring in Keita early, then people will suddenly start to forget that they ever hated the owners and think, well, we're doing well. We start putting them together on the field. They're just owners, and that's all they ever should be.
Are we in that window now where we can find that dream owner who's going to have untold amount of cash and a real affinity for the place, and not, committing atrocities across the side of the world? So when you look at it within that frame, I would say can do better, hopefully will do better.
I think really, really small things like the Owen McVeigh Foundation, that gesture towards them and seeming to reach out, the food bank stuff, the visas for the fans that went to Moscow. It feels like the club's at least got its ear cocked to what's happening on the street, and a bit more sensitive to how fans, and particularly local fans, feel. And to that I'm grateful. But I still feel for them to be an unqualified success as an ownership group, they've got to be really, really serious about winning trophies. We've got to make sure that we can compete on all fronts, and we should be leading on subjects like fan welfare, where I feel we're following.
The structure around any of these projects hasn't been there in a footballing sense, and I think that in order to aim for where I feel like we should be aiming for, which is to be the biggest and best club in the world, I think we need and deserve more ambitious owners.
If it was a footballer, you'd say 6 out of 10, we need to improve. And I think you need to look at the ownership the same way. Obviously, they're a more difficult one to replace, and obviously sometimes you've got to be careful what you wish for. A lot of times you've got to be careful what you wish for, and we know that as Liverpool fans, but I think our aspirations as Liverpool fans should be higher than what FSG have been able to deliver for us.
I think from a commercial side of things, we're a much better club than we were. We don't seem to miss opportunity like we have done in the past, so them frustrations are gone. I'd just like to see a little bit more ambition in the transfer market in terms of delivering top targets, and if they can do that, I'm all right with them.
I think they've made mistakes, but at the same time, any club makes mistakes. I think that's the context that we'll put it in. Any club, if you assess all their transfers, some are good, some are bad, some are indifferent. With Liverpool, I think a concern for me is that too often it feels like deals should happen and don't happen, and I wonder why. And what they're not good at, I would say, as well, is communication. So Michael Edwards, for instance, is the director of football at Liverpool Football Club. We've never heard his voice. For me, that's utterly bizarre for someone to be so high up at a football club and never speak. Mike Gordon is another one, high up at FSG, involved in Liverpool, never heard his voice, doesn't do any interviews. John Henry as well, he rarely speaks on Liverpool now either. Tom Werner, he rarely speaks on Liverpool now either. We do hear, obviously, people who work at the club, but I'd like to hear from the owners too. What are their ambitions? What do they want? Where do they think Liverpool should be? Are they trying to do more? I would say so. I would say things like the Red Neighbours scheme is a positive thing. I would say appointing Tony Barrett to the club is a positive thing, and that says to me that they do genuinely want to engage with fans. But going all the way back to 2010 when John Henry arrived, he did say he was here to win, and ultimately Liverpool haven't won. And I think that is why there are so many people concerned about the direction of the club, concerned about this set of owners. But what I would say about some of those concerns is it's all really difficult, this. Liverpool have been trying to win the league for 27 years under different owners, under different managers. And look, no one's letting them do it. No one's lying down. You know, there's some strong opposition, strong managers. There's football clubs spending an awful lot of money, football clubs with greater resources than Liverpool. And is there a millionaire, billionaire, whatever, waiting out there who wants to come and buy Liverpool? Well, it doesn't look like. I mean, if you want FSG out so much, which people say to me they do all the time, then what do you want in? What's the ownership that you do want? So while that's hardly supportive of FSG, that's just the reality of the situation. How good are any owners? So as I say, I think they've got things wrong. I think they've got some things right. I think they could do better. And will they do better? Well, we'll see.